Okay, welcome everybody. This is a continuation video for U-Boat Captain Advanced Edition Minden Games Solo U-Boat Patrols. And as I mentioned in the first video when I went through the PDF here, which I bought on Wargame Vault, that's one place you can get it, or Minden Games, you can get this also. And I think even the hard copy is available on Amazon. Just look for U-Boat Captain Minden Games and you'll find it. But I thought I'd give also a brief, I got to build the VASSAL module for this. This isn't a very involved VASSAL module compared to a lot of other things I've done, like perhaps the War in Europe from Decision Games I'm building, but this does give you a quick example of the process I use. I am in no way putting myself forward as a graphics expert. I learn what I need to do, and then I stick with that. And the same with VASSAL module. There's a lot of people who build really advanced VASSAL models, taking advantage of all its features, which are cool. But I'm mainly a function over form kind of person. I just want to get something that's working correctly. I can play the game, and it looks nice. You know, as it makes sense, I'll add more automation and figure that out. But so just view this as kind of a down and dirty way to build a VASSAL module. Biggest challenge for me with a VASSAL module is if I have a game that doesn't have a VASSAL module, and the only version of the game I have is physical. You know, getting the graphics for it, that's tough, and I think I've done this in previous videos. Good source sometimes with a game that's been out for at least a little bit is you go to BGG, go to the website, and in general they'll have images of the game, and a lot of times I can get counter sheets there, graphics files, and and sometimes if I'm lucky I'll get the map. There have been a few times, I think it was the Decision Games. Forgot his Battles in the East. To play the first one I played, I had to make it myself, and it was a mounted map, so I had to use my phone to make a picture. It wasn't great, but luckily for both of those games now, Battles in the East Volume 1 and 2, there is a professionally made one. Now, U-Boat Captain, all that said, PDF version of a game is great. That's why sometimes, for example, I've got some lock and load physical games, but they also, well, not lock and load. I think it's Flying Pig, OST, or his other one. I'm brain dumping the name, Flying Pig, and the other one. But a lot of times you'll see the games being sold on Wargame Vault. I wait for them to go on sale, and then I buy the game, which gets me all the graphics. So that's another way to get good graphics. But that's the key. Once you've got good graphics for the game, then you can build a VASSAL mod. And like my previous video I showed you, I'm going to do that here for this one. And like I said, this one's relatively straightforward. There's not a lot here. Just starting here, here's the components section. Now, this, yeah, I could build into VASSAL. There is a way to build this, but I'll just make a spreadsheet for this because I use Excel a lot at work, so I'm comfortable doing that. These will each be individual maps, obviously snipped and rotated for each of the U-boats here, so I'm going to have to capture those. Here's a map, not quite critical for the gameplay, but I'll go ahead and use it as such. And here's some optional counters and make your own. These are the key counters here. Obviously, some games have lots and lots of counter sheets. This game only has 10 counters in general, unless you want to grab these U-boats too. And these are just display markers for the different things on the sheets here. So this will be straightforward. The only challenge will be when I clip them, sizing them so they look at the right size for whatever I chose for the maps here. And then the charts, normally I will try and put the charts into my VASSAL mod. For this game, I'm not going to. You know, it's in a PDF. Why put it all in? And it also gives me the ability, with a clearer conscience to maybe, with permission, make this VASSAL mod available. And because it doesn't have the charts, you literally have to buy the game to play it here. So that's what we'll be doing here. Okay, so the tool I'm going to use, actually I have it over here. You could use Photoshop, any kind of drawing program, I guess, but GIMP seems to be the go-to open source image editing, image manipulation program, GNU licensing, etc. So it is free, it's reasonably good. Again, I'm not a master, but I know enough. to, get what I need to be done here, and I'll show you that in a second. There is one other tool that some people made me aware of a few years back. It's pretty cool. You add it to GIMP. It's called BIMP, B-I-M-P, Batch Image Manipulation Process. Yeah, it can manipulate your image in all sorts of ways, but the key thing I use it for is to put the bevels in the corners on my counters to make them look clipped. I'm not going to open up that controversy, but, so I actually add that too also. Now, with that said, let's move this over here, and you can get both of those. I'll just Google BIMP GIMP, and you'll get that one. And GIMP, you actually see they do have versions for GIMP for Windows. That's what I'm using. I know they have it for the other ones too. Why am I not seeing them? Oh, here we go. Linux, Mac, Windows. There you go. Okay. So you can run it on anything. Now, with that said, let's pull this over here. See if I get my window sizing. And the trick here, actually I cheated with this one earlier. I've already made the graphics images. The other thing I sometimes cheat with, and this is actually, I do this for charts maybe. Microsoft has Clipchamp. I'm still using the handy dandy snipping tool here. As long as you size it right, you can just get away with this. Just do that. New, hopefully it still shows, and then you highlight it. And boom, this puppy's on the clipboard. See, there it is. And it's automatically, when you do that, it's on the clipboard. So I could come over here and say, yep, there it is. And then I can transform, rotate. Let's see, which way do I need to go? This is kind of a cheater's way. And then this isn't necessarily actual size. Yep, we're at 67%. So when you drop it into the game, in general, let's run it to 100. Wait, there it is. Boom. Okay, so that's not too big. This is a big screen here. I think it's 2560 by 1440, so that will look good. That's perfect. Okay, now I could go through and potentially do that for all of this. Okay, and honestly, this is the snipping tool is what I use to get the charts a lot of times instead of trying to pull it in here. But the other way you can do it is GIMP can open PDFs. So I can come over here, say open, and then you see a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Let's see, I was doing a deck of cards there. I wanted to get a new deck of cards. So I grabbed a bunch of images there. Let's see, and I say recently used. Oh, that's what these are. Okay. Oh, not very handy here. So let me see. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so I'm going. Finally, I found it. The PDF file from Wargame Vault. Pretty much has everything in it. That's what we're looking at over here. So, but this time I'm going to open it directly in GIMP. So I select it here. And then it goes through and gives me all the pages I could pick. This is kind of the clunky part. I have to go through and pick a page, but looks like my key page. Now, if I want to do the map, I could open that, but here's my key page with my counters. So I'm going to click on that one. And this resolution is important. This tells you how big it comes in. Like if I pull it in 300 and it's way too big, maybe I'd knock this down to 200. Maybe I'd knock this down to 100. I'm just going to keep it what it is here at 300. So I get the highest fidelity, and then if I need to, I'll transform it down. But that's a personal preference, and I just say import. Yep, there it is. Now, what I also got to do again is notice I'm at 33%. So I want to get to actual size because I'm going to compare these two here also. I didn't bring up one of these. That's interesting. I'm going to cheat and do it this way just to give you an example. Let me pull up the snipping tool again. Snip. Oh, there you are. You're right here. Okay, it was already there. You just click new. And again, maybe I would have pulled this into GIMP like I'm doing, but I'm going to do this. And that puts it on the clipboard. I don't have, well, you can do stuff from the snipping tool. I can save it here. That's copy in case, for whatever reason it's not, you can make sure you're copying. And then I'll come in here and I'll go new, create from clipboard. That's nice. I don't want to put it on this one. So I'm going to create, I could have done new and pasted it in, but I'm going to create from clipboard. Boom, it's in. And all I need to do is, where is it? Transform, rotate to the right, and go to, yeah, 67%, so it's matching what I did for the map. So these are pretty solid, you know. They're sizing right. So now what I need to do is come in here, and you'll see here that that looks too big. You know, I could clip this now and pull it over, but I already know with everything at 100% that that would be way too big. So I'm just going to pull a number out of my hat here. I'm going to go to the image. I'm going to scale it. And I'm not going to do height width. I'm going to go to percent. And I'm just take a shot at 50%. Let's see if that works. Tab. They're locked, so they'll maintain the same ratio. Scale. Okay, that shrinks it. And now I'm going to come up here. This is the movement tool. I don't want to do that. I want the rectangular select tool. And then I'm going to come down here and eyeball this puppy and do that. And then I'll look at the numbers. It's 73 by 75. I don't know. I could play with my mouse and try and get this. You can see that at the very bottom of the screen. It's that way. This is always the frustrating part. Got a trackball here. I may just, that's close enough for government work. Then immediately, as soon as you do that, immediately shift it back to this, because if I click anywhere, I'd lose that box. Now with it in movement mode, you'll see with the arrow keys, I can move it. And I can hold down the shift key and go faster. And so I'm going to clip all the counters this way. So let's just do this one. And I'm into doing learning the hotkeys for certain stuff, but I do a copy and then paste. It is a Control Shift V, Shift Control V. I forgot where it is. There's a paste new. I know it works. I don't know where the command is. It's because I've memorized. Let's see, create. Oh, there it is. Shift Control V. Okay. So I want to do, basically, I've got this highlighted now. I hit Control A just to make sure I've selected all the image. Control C, I've got it on the clipboard. It's telling me that down there. And then I go to my here, and then I hit Control V. And then what I do is I slide it up, and you know, it's kind of there. That's perfect for this one. Holy smoke. And you can play with it. I mean, whatever, you know, fits, just so it's not too big and it covers multiple. It's a little big for this, but it's close enough. It'll work. Now, the key thing is I got to get rid of this, you know, if I'm planning on saving this, unless I've already saved it. That's yours. That's kind of like eject. Control Z, and it's not working. We'll see again. Wait, oh, let's go to the map just for, well, I'm not putting it on this map, so I don't care. So I'd come over here, and then all I'd do is File, and do Export As. Otherwise, it does its own unique image. Notice if I click, let's do Save As. Yeah, I do not know what XCF is. That's unique to GIMP, so I'm not going to do that. I want to do File, Export As, and in our case, we're going to export it as, I'm not even going to, this is a throwaway kind of thing. I'll do it here. I'll name it anything I want. Now, here's the key thing. You got to pick your ending. I could do JPEG. There it is. Select file type by extension. So whatever extension I put in, that's what it's going to be. I don't use JPEG. I'd use it for a map or a chart, but you can't do rounded corners JPEG. JPEG is square. You can't modify a JPEG file. At least my experience has been. So I always save it as a PNG, and then the BIMP tool will work on it. Damage counter. I'll just give it some test because I've already made it here. Just save the file. Notice that was an export as export. And then you got to pick this. I usually pick the defaults. Export. And then, you know, again, I've memorized the key command, so I can't really find. There it is. Close view is Control W. So Control C, Control Shift. This is, I'm not even touching the mouse. Control W, arrow key left, discard. And normally I wouldn't have this up. I'd return here. And you can see this becomes monotonous with large counter sheets. That's what you got to do. But this one's easy. And again, I get my thing around where I want it, and then using the arrow keys and the shift arrow to go faster, and then I go Control E. And then do another name, test 6, whatever, and then enter, enter. Yeah, so watch a YouTube video while you're doing this. This one is easy. I mean, it's not very many counters. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, I've already done them. Now, if I want to get these U-boat things, got to go back here to drawing. Then I got to pick here. And then I got to do this. Let's see if I got that. Yep. And then it's the same thing. Well, get off of this. Always change that so you don't lose your drawing. Control-Shift-V, Control-E. And then save it as a U-boat. I've already done all these U-boats. You can see that here. Yeah, I've already. Wait, there's the maps. Yeah. There's a map. There we go. There's the other ones of those. Now, what I could do is. All right, so we're back. I think I found the file. We'll open it again. Open recent. There it is. So we're going to open the U-Boat Captain PDF. And you got to go find it. You can see where the path is there. You may have to go and look around. So I'm going to just open it. I've opened it recently. I'm kind of cheating here. I mean, you could have just went and looked for it, but then you open it. And then what it asks you for is what page. And this is the kind of clunky part of going to a PDF directly, especially if it's got a lot of pages, you know, and it's spread across them. You're going to have to open the pages individually. But see, this is where I could have opened the cards if I wanted to do it this way and sized them. But for this game, I'm keeping it simple. This is the page I need with the counters. So I click here. And then here I can pick the size of it when it imports. Now 300 dpi is going to be really big. I'll just leave it, and you'll see there's a way to change it. But you could tweak it down to 200, 100, and then it's a little smaller. Because when we clip these counters, we got to make sure ratio-wise they match up with this. Wouldn't want this big honking counter on this small track. It wouldn't work. Just like a big honking counter on a hexagonal map. So I'm going to say import. There it is, but this isn't really what it looks like. See, notice the zoom is at 33%. It did it to fit, so I got to take it to 100. So all things are equal. And for this one, these are the only real counters I need, these. These are optional, these U-boat things. Again, so I'll just, and I can already tell if this is at 100%, yeah, that's way too big. I can't clip it this size. So what I need to do is go to image and scale it. And I like to use percent. You can go by pixels, but I just go percent. And I could ballpark it, and I'll just say 50. This is going to scale. I literally scale the image down. This isn't a view shift, like you're changing the view like I just did. This is actually scaling the whole image down. 50%, boof, and you do see it's smaller. Now all I need to do is virtually clip all the counters that I want. And the way you do that is you come up here and you do the rectangular select tool. And then I just pick what I want. I'm not going to try and be precise here. Let's see. 71 by 74. I'm looking down at the very bottom. It's giving me the pixels of the, you know, if I want a square, it should be the same. 74 by 77, that's not good. 74 by 75, close enough. Now it's very important after you select what you want, don't click anywhere, you'll lose that. Come up here and go to the move at least, because that's what you're going to be doing next. That preserves now this area, and what I can do with the arrow keys is just move it around. I'm holding down the shift key to go faster. This is just the arrow keys, and they can go up and down, but I hold down the shift key to jump a little further. And once I've got what I want, I'm going to copy and then paste it into a new selection and then export as. And all the commands are here. You got copy. Now I memorized the fact I want to get on the keyboard and do it fast. Control C to copy. And then to then create from clipboard is Control Shift V, which will make a new entry. And then the last thing you want to do is export as. Okay. Control Shift E, or Control E actually works, but so just, you know, I like to get the key combination because this becomes monotonous. This is a small number of counters, but let's say I'm doing multiple counter sheets. And each unit has a designation, so I have to do all the counters because they have designations. Yeah, watch a YouTube video or listen to something while you're doing this portion. That's actually the grunt work a lot of times for YouTube. I mean, for a VASSAL module is clipping the counters. Hey, if somebody's listening and knows a faster way. I've tried different automation. Some have worked, where I can just hit a button and it does it. I'm pretty okay with the hotkeys. So here I want to get damage receive. Let's just pick this other one here. And again, the first thing I got to do is Control Shift V, put Control A, which is short for select all, just to make sure I've literally selected this whole thing. There's been a few times I've done that and didn't do that, and I got something strange. Then I'm going to copy, Control V. And let's see. Okay, it's nice for this one. It's a little oversized for this one, to be perfectly honest. Good enough. Okay. Now, if I hadn't saved this map, I don't want to leave this here. I've done that a few times. Forgot that I had a counter copied on it for sizing, and then went and saved the map. And oh, look, permanent counter on the map. And this sizing is also important for hexes, obviously. So you can go back and forth until you get the right percentage. Like if I didn't like this percentage, I could go back here. And your magical campaign key combination is undo. Control Z works everywhere. So then I could do Control Z and take it out. I got to keep going. Boom. And then I could come back here. I hit Control Z a few times. And I can come in here and scale the image again. That looked a little big. So maybe, I don't know, 40? Tab. It matches 40%. And you got to hit scale. And now, yeah, it's a little smaller now. That's interesting. Okay, and then I could come back and highlight it, and this is getting a bit small, but now I could do it again. I didn't catch what size it was. Oh, that's small, 56 by 59. Okay. But let's pop over here. The last thing you got to do, and this is important too, don't do a save as. You get this weird XCF. I think it's just for GIMP. You want to save it as a standard output in the preference one. So you want to do an export as or export. Control E works too. So this would just be a. Okay, let's try this again. Inadvertently killed my recording, so I'm going to have to merge these two together. I'm not going to use the control key because I use that for pause, and that's what I've been doing in OBS. I'll probably want to change that. Actually, that's a good idea. Hold on. All right, I've changed it to the end key. Hopefully I'll remember that. Again, like I was saying, you need to export this. Control E. There we go. Key thing is if I hadn't mentioned it before, I think I did, so I'm going to export it as a PNG and want to make sure that, that way I can clip the counters. If it's a map, I'll do a JPEG. And you can see I've already done all of these. I'm not going to export it again, but yeah, everything is PNG. Yeah, I even did the cards. I could have done that MPEG, and then I just click export. I'll just do that. Oops. Why is that not working? Export. Yeah, and then I get the pop-up. I can mess with it's good enough, but you could mess with how graphic it is or how well it is. And then when I'm done, I want to close view. That's a Control W. So I'm just going to hit Control W. Arrow key, discard, change, boom. And like I said, you're going to be doing this a lot. So knowing those commands are important. Here I'm still on the sizing. So for example, I could also do one of these. Come up here, highlight it. Again, once you've got your box right, you want to come over here. It's close enough. Go to the move. Mainly because, I do want to move it, but I also don't want to click somewhere and lose it. And you'll notice if I hold down the shift key, I can go up and down, etc. Over, center it. And again, the key combination now that I'm signed up is Control C, Control Shift V, Control E. And now I got to take my hands off and type something in. Test 90. And then I'm back to the keyboard. It's PNG. Enter. That looks okay. Enter. And then Control W. So if you're doing a lot of counters, hey, come down here, do the next one, get it lined up right. Control C, Control Shift V, Control E. give it a name, got to come back again, test 80, and then you're back to the keyboard. Enter, enter, Control W, arrow, however you want to do it. That's what I do. That's one of the cases where I memorize it. So then after you've done all that, and you're going to go through, and like I said, with counter sheets, that's a lot of them. But then when you're done, you can look at your work, which I'll do here. Let me try my new pause button. I don't know all right, and here we go. I can change your view here. If you're stuck in list, you can go to icons. And at least gives me a quick sight. Here are the counters. Here's the map. They're not to scale. And here's the different U-boats I clipped, etc. This is Windows. I'm sure this works in Mac too. I could double click on this guy. He appears in this view, and then I can just arrow my way through. Yeah, that looks about right. Yep, yep, yep. And, a sanity check here. Again, you'd probably have in there. Oh, nice. There are the maps. Yep, yep. I don't know why that does that, but there are the different U-boats, and then here are the maps too. So, I mean, these are the cards. So it looks like, for our case, we got all our stuff. Now, this game requires a deck of cards, so I have some basic deck of cards in the Vassal template, but I said, let's go out and get a new deck of cards, which I did. I just did I don't know why these are here. Oh, that's probably the last place I saved, but so I just went out on the internet, found an image that had a whole set of deck of cards, and I did the same thing. Pulled them into GIMP and highlighted them and went for it. And that kind of a little bigger, and they look nicer. Looks like they have rounded corners too already. And I'll show you when I get to the VASSAL Module part how to import this information. So I got my cards. So I'd say basically I have everything I need. I'm not doing the charts. Normally I'd capture the charts if I wanted to include them in the game, but at this point I'm going to leave them out. It just makes the VASSAL mod not complete, which is good because you can't play the game without the rule book. So that's kind of something you want to consider too. So this is my first step. I just wanted to get my graphics ready. Let me show you what it looks like for a big game though. All right, this is the one I recently did for Decision Games, one of their magazine games. Their Force Z Kriegsmarine World at War 96. And just to give you an idea of how many counters you end up making, here are the counters. And it's not in the view I want. Let me show you here. Large, extra large is really big. Boom. There you go. A lot of clipping here. You just have to go through monotonously and go clip, clip, clip. Okay. And then I run the BIMP, which I may show later, that puts the counters. Notice these are square counters. They're PNGs. But there is a way to use this BIMP tool. Let's see where I got that here. And when you install it, it just becomes... This is Adobe. What are you doing there? Oh, sorry here. I think I lost my GIMP. Where'd you go? Did I close it inadvertently? No. There it is. It becomes part of this. Yep. Once you install it, you get this. And then, well, I'll show you real quick. Let's do it. So I'm going to add images, add folder. Let's see. I got this kind of offline here. I don't know. Let's just do all of these. We'll add this folder. Then I have to create a folder to put the output in, and I'm just going to call it, under images, I like to call it clipped. I'm doing this on the other screen here. Clipped, there we go. So you do see here I've picked clipped. Click OK. Okay, so now I've said these are the images I want to do. I think they're all PNG. Yeah, there's too many. I may have divided these up, but anyway, I've picked the whole folder that has my images. I've picked the output to an empty folder. That's good. Now I got to add what happens. And there's two things I do. It's under GIMP procedures. The first thing I do is bevel. There it is. Script FU add bevel. I don't know who made this. This is awesome. Whoever did it. And that gives me a bevel on the counter of 5. And then the other thing I want to do is, it's a GIMP procedure. Corner. Some guys on the internet told me this. Corners, and then I usually Now these counters are kind of small, so this may look really pronounced. You can play with these. And I just have these settings memorized, 10, 10. And then all you do is you click apply. And then it goes through each counter. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with this. You can convert the version, from a JPEG to a PNG. I mean, I'm just touching the surface here, but this is how you get those clipped counter effect here. So let's take a look at that. Oops, sorry about that. I don't know where my clip counters are. Wow, that's weird. Hold on. Nice forest. I guess, well, let me do it from here. Okay, 0 errors. That's great. Maybe if I'm going to do some more, I'd empty these and do the next. But hey, let's show you at least. This is the effect on these counters. See, they look like this, but then I clip them. They kind of look, that's cool. I kind of like that. It's worth it in my mind. And this one I divided it up, so you do have the British. And again, here's not clipped. I could change it, but let's go to the clipped. Yep, they look kind of nice. Nice little corners, etc. For those of you who like to clip your corners. But let's look at what we just did here. Hopefully I'm not paused here. There it is, Minden, U-boat captain, images, clipped. All right, there we go. Okay, why not? Looks interesting. The counters, and again, I can double click. And I thought I double clicked. Yep, there it is. It's on the other screen. Yeah, they look a little clipped. I mean, that's okay, whether you use it or not. This is aesthetics, And even the maps are clipped because they were in the same thing. That's fine. It looks like a mat. They got clips too, etc. So that's just something else you can do. You got to download it and install BIMP after you install GIMP. When you do install GIMP, here's a little technical thing. Don't install it just for the user. Install GIMP for all users, because BIMP, when it installs, assumes that and has a hard time finding where GIMP is installed unless you install it for all users. I learned that the hard way. Had to uninstall GIMP, reinstall it for all users, and then install BIMP. Okay. So there we go. That was kind of I wouldn't call it quick because I think we're at 30 minutes once I combine these two videos. But there's a VASSAL lesson using U-boat as an example of doing, making the graphics. Okay. So now we've made the graphics for the U-boat. We got the maps. We got the counters if I want to use them. We got the key tracking things here. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So our next video will be plugging all of this into VASSAL. So again, that'll do it for this one. Comments appreciated. Anybody out there who is experienced with VASSAL and knows some tricks that would help what I'm doing, greatly appreciated. Like I said, I'm not a master of GIMP or VASSAL, but I know enough. I know enough to not be dangerous, I hope, but I know enough to get the job done, and that's what my focus is. I do end up with a playable game. How much automation I put in using VASSAL, that's another discussion, but for now, we've made our raw materials, and it's time to go next and make the module. So thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comments appreciated. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one.